fire for your mind. Culture clinician.
Understanding the shift that we all have seen. In one of the videos that I recently put out, I said, we all see the shift.
It's a shift,
So
yes.
we can't act like we don't see it. I think it's
Right.
happened definitely in the last 5 years or 10 years. I would probably say 10 years where I've seen a huge shift in dating dynamics, the rhetoric toward men. There's been this huge shift that I had never really seen before.
Right.
Feminism has been around since the 1920s, but it really has ramped up. Younger millennial women, Gen Z women, again, it's like Eve in the garden. It's like being presented with that apple, and once they bite it, it poisons everything.
Yeah. You're correct. They believe the good lies. Kevin Samuels was crucified for that. And, Kevin was controversial for a lot of reasons. But Kevin really wasn't saying anything that men had said in the past. He just took the package and nuanced it and became rich. And, he was brilliant in his delivery, how he did it. But the good lies, Anita tells women that they can do what they want to do.
Right.
And then reach back after they've given their virtue away, and then expect a man to bestow upon them the same virtues that men gave to your grandmother, your mother, and your great-grandmom, and your great-great-grandmom. I'm going to say this. I believe, Anita, that at one point, there was no woman better than the American black woman in the past.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that to simp, because I'm not a simp. I'm a man. I say what I want to say. I'm very direct. I'm not going to hurt nobody's feelings, but, I'm going to say what I want to say. But there was not a woman better than the American black woman.
Mm-hmm.
She was couth. She won't ran through like a lot of these modern women now.
Yep.
She was respectful.
Yep.
She didn't have a bunch of not children, but children by a lot of men. That's how we say it in the South.
Yeah.
She didn't have a bunch of children by a lot of men, Anita.
Mm-hmm.
And she was willing to work with her man because they understood, Anita, that black excellence was built in cooperation. But watch this. Over time, she believed the hype. She believed that she was oppressed, where black men, I will argue, and you tell me what you think, never had power to oppress black women at the macro level. We never consigned or co-signed with white men to create aversive policies that would more or less subjugate black women. We didn't have any power. Black men and black women were mules of the same cause. We were all part of the struggle, and we were doing great. We were making great progress in the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. Mm-hmm. But some nefarious happened around 64 with the Lyndon B. Johnson administration. And then from that point on, the black excellence that we were building upon began to dissipate. What do you say about that?
I agree. When we look at harder times that black people have been through in this country, I find it fascinating that I am living my great-grandmother's dream, right? I have all the things she ever wanted and then some. Right. And yet today's woman is unhappy.
Right.
How do you explain that? It doesn't make sense that I have all of the modern day, appliances and all of these things to help me out and to do all of these things.
Right.
And we are miserable.
Miserable. Yes.
Yeah, we're miserable. And women, it's a hill that a lot of women are willing to die on.
Yes.
They will not admit. And I mean, I hear it in my private office, but they will not publicly admit. Well, there's some women crying in the car videos on TikTok. They're admitting how hard single motherhood is, how miserable they are, how lonely they are. And that is the truth. That is what I'm seeing in mass.
Seeing the mass. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And they believe the lie of the serpent, Anita. They believe the lie of the serpent.
Yep.
And the lie is still perpetuating not only in modern times in academia, but also is perpetuating in modern times. And because of pride, arrogance, hubris, and an unrepentant heart, they're still walking the ways of the serpent.
Follow me, baby. The elders are old and out of touch. I have the power to help you become the better version of yourself. Listen to me. I know what's best for you. I am the snake whisperer.
The snake whisperer, Anita, still lying to the modern woman.
Yep.
Just like the snake whisperer lied to Eve. The snake whisperer told the modern woman that she would have the gnosis, which was power. She thought by having esoteric knowledge, it would give her an advantage. But see, in getting that power, which was poison called feminism, she lost her innocence.
Right.
Her innocence, Anita, was her chastity. Her innocence was her ability to be led by a masculine man. Her innocence was provision and protection. And ever since then, the beauty that we once saw in the past is beginning to falter and continue to precipitate downhill in a downward spiral. So black love without consent, Anita, basically means that the world forgot to ask the black man what he wants.
Okay.
The black man is the arbiter of relationships. You know, a woman can't marry herself. I proved my point. A man that's an 8 and a woman that's an 8, if that woman want to get with that man, she got to more or less capitulate to what that man want, and vice versa. The man got to have some level of je ne sais quoi, some level of financial stability in order to be with that woman. But if there's a mutual attraction, Anita, then that woman has to more or less capitulate to what that man wants. But see, here's the problem. Modern women can tell men what they want. You got to be 6'3", make 6 figures, a nice phallus size, good shape, financially astute, and all of that. And that's fine. But when black men flip it and say, okay, fine, I don't want a woman that's ran through. I don't want a woman that got multiple kids by multiple men. I don't want a woman that's had multiple deletions. Oh, you're toxic and you hate black women.
Right. Yep.
You see the foolishness? You see that dichotomy of thought? And so my mom just passed away back in May, Anita. And it's, when my mom died, part of me died. Yeah. I'm 6'5", 6'6". I'm a big man. And I felt like a little boy when my mom passed away. Even though I'm a grown man, I felt like a little boy, empty and lost without my mama. But Anita, I was crying for a myriad of reasons, and I'm going to tell you why I was crying. I was crying because the nostalgia of yesterday is not coming back.
Right.
What my dad got in my mom, he got a virgin. She had no kids. And she was mostly wife rated. My grandmother was the same way. Rural Eastern North Carolina. Grew up on traditional old school black values. That's what they got.
Yeah.
But when you hear modern women now saying, you got to make 6 figures, but you've been with a bunch of men, multiple deletions, and you got and you think a man that's worked hard gonna give that to you? And then when a man say, I don't want you, you don't qualify, you're insecure. Well, men say, yes, ma'am, I am insecure. I'm not insecure by default, but I'm insecure with all that baggage that you got. Therefore, you can't come into my life. And then all of a sudden, there's a visceral problem. I mean, you hate black women. Well, ma'am, you hate black men. Because your daddy is black, just like your mom is black. What do you say to that?
I say, and women, this is a hard thing for women to hear, but I always tell people to look at people's patterns. Like their patterns never lie.
Right.
And so whatever has been done in the past can continue in the present and can become your future. So yes, we all need to judge a person's past.
Right.
Like their past could become our present.
Yes.
And so, I tell men to do that. I tell women to do that.
Right.
Look at the person's patterns.
Right. Look at the patterns.
Probably what you're going to get now and in the future. So make sure that person has lived honorably. Right. And you should want to live honorably for yourself. I always tell women, I believe the single you is the married you. Like there are certain things I wouldn't do as a single woman. I don't need to wait until I'm married. Like I don't need to do that. But unfortunately, women are being taught something totally different. Oh, there's a way you're going to be when you're single, especially in your 20s. And then when you get older, you're going to be different when you're married. And I just don't agree with that.
Elaborate on what that means. Before you do, Anita, shout out to my man, Tim Howard, for those 5 memberships. And also shout out to my man, The Wall Report, as he is the #1 sponsor to stream for the $25 super chat. Shout out to The Wall Report, as he's the #1 sponsor of this stream.
It's the money.
Shout out to the Wall Report, the #1 sponsor of the stream. Once again, guys, we got the talented. I call Amelia a sapiophile. That means she's intelligent. She loves intelligence. She's a sapiophile. So we got the talented and intelligent Anita Stoudemire. So Black Love Without Consent. Anita, you and I are Gen X. We remember a time. I'm gonna show some clips and we're gonna get into it. But we remember a time when things was different. Right. And so before we get too deep, what did you mean about your prior comment? I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. What did you mean by your prior comment?
Just like I said, we're taught in this modern day age not to judge, but the truth is, we can judge righteously. We can make sure that we're not taking in or taking on something that could one day hurt us. Right. We do want to judge people's character. Right. We do want to see what time they're on, because like I said, people's patterns are probably going to continue to play out.
Yes, ma'am.
So, just make sure when you're listening with your ears and observing with your eyes, make sure, what is this? And that's not to say that people can't change. People can change. I wouldn't be in this business of being a therapist if I thought people could not change. However, it's going to take a whole lot. It's going to take a whole lot of not just talking about it, but being about it for you to see real, sincere change out of a person.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone should have their standard, right?
Yes,
everyone should have a standard. I always, here's what women get on me about.
Right.
I tell men to avoid women who have a lot of visible tattoos.
Yes, I agree.
That's a no-no.
Yes.
That's a no-no.
Right.
And they hate me for that. Because they went and inked up their entire body for whatever God knows reason. I believe the sad truth is the tattoos tell the story of their trauma.
Yes, it's like graffiti.
It is, and
it's graffiti.
So,
I totally agree. And some guys call it tramp stamps because a lot of times, the color of their hair, purple hair and red hair and orange hair. Yeah. That's a sign of trauma. A lot of times, those women have borderline personality disorders, histrionic. Am I right?
They do, and I tell men this. Men this.
Histrionic, feminist.
Yes, right. From that, and ladies will say, well, I might have had some trauma in my past, but I'm healing, and now I'm different, and this and that. I said, but if you've covered your body in tattoos, that's a hard pass. Again, it's an advertisement for
it's advertisement. So, it's advertisement, Anita. And not only that, I've never seen a time, Anita, where the world, where the seller try to tell the buyer what his standard should be. Yep. I'm gonna say it again. The seller now, Anita, is trying to tell the buyer what his standard should be instead of becoming the seller, the standard of the buyer.
Right.
That's good. That's good customer service, Anita. When you and I were teenagers growing up in the 70s, the seller gave the customer what they wanted. The OJ said it. You got to give the people what they want. That was just normal.
And you remember back then that, and this doesn't exist now, but it was
doesn't.
It was the seller did want to give good customer service, right? They did want to make sure that the customer returned. And they wanted to make sure that, okay, our name is good. We have, and I don't see that as much anymore. It's odd to me that the customer service is not great or just people behaving badly. But yes, that is an economics law that, if something is scarce or it's of high quality, it's going to cost you, right?
It's going to cost you. Right.
Yep, that's the reason why Louis Vuitton and Gucci, they don't have a sale.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
Price. So I keep telling people the price is the price.
The price is the price. Right.
You can pay it or you can't.
Right. And you said what you said is extremely profound. That's why men reverence virginity and chastity and women respecting their body back in the past. I know I did. Some men don't care. Some men say they want a woman's little ran through. I don't. Listen, I can't give you my best if I know 100 men been with you. I just can't. First of all, I'm not going to be with you.
Yeah.
But if I know you, I'm saying you got to be perfect. But ideally, and I'm saying ideal, and we don't live in an ideal world. A virgin to low bodies is ideal for me. But when women did that back in the past, Anita, it invigorated that man to not only want to protect her, but also to die for her. Because watch this, Anita. She was a pearl of great cost, consistent with the scripture. She was a pearl of great cost. And so the man saw that woman as his prize. Anita is a beautiful woman. She's valued herself. And, therefore, my devotion to her is the ring, and to give her protection and to give her security. But watch this. Something nefarious has happened, Anita, in the broader kaleidoscope of America, and we're going to get into it a little later. It's called taxation without representation and the mental oppression of the modern male. And so men are waking up and saying, no, we ain't going to be no more taxation. Yeah. Either you're going to be what I need you to be, or you're going to be left behind. And so you got these women that say, the past don't matter. Oh, yes, it do, sweetie. Your past matters, and I'm going to tell you why it matters, and I'm going to prove something to you. Watch this. When you went to grad school, Anita, they had to look at your academic past.
Right.
When the person goes to the preacher, he's going to ask them about their spiritual past. When you go to the bank to get a loan, they're going to ask you about your financial past. Right. When you go to the doctor going to ask you about your health past. But somehow when it comes down to the most important relationship in the world, which is between a man and a woman say her past don't matter.
You're right.
That's foolish. And I'm going to tell you why they say that, Anita. This is why they say, you're going to laugh at this clip. Corey Holcomb said, Anita, I'm going to keep it 100. This is what Corey Holcomb said, because you got right now, you got a lot of Angry Birds.
Nigga ass, loser ass nigga.
Your video with comments about
He's a loser.
Female.
Just to let you niggas know, we don't need y'all. We want y'all, but we don't need you.
20 years later.
Our black men, we want all y'all back. Because we love you, we see you, kings, and most importantly, we need you. And most importantly, we need you.
And most importantly, we need you.
You can't.
If you a that's for the streets.
You can't delete the ski. You can't delete the ski.
I know a who used to suck dick every month of night.
You can't
delete your.
Cora's a little graphic.
I know, he's a fool.
He's a fool. But Anita, they can't delete the skeet, man. And people don't understand that you get soul ties by sleeping with a bunch of men.
People, exactly.
But not only that, Anita, some women can get something called microchimerism. It basically means that the DNA from prior men still resides in her bloodstream. And I know it sounds gross, it sounds problematic, but that's what's happened. Good women that were on par with doing what's right were blindsided by modern liberal feminism. When you try to convey a message, Anita, what are some of the pushback that you're getting? Because it's such a pleasure to have you on the platform. We're gonna have to do a show again at premium times because I love your insight. When I found out about you, I've been playing some of your clips for a while because I had somebody tell me, Anita, they said a client one time, she got mad at me because I see a lot of in couples therapy, a lot of the women not giving their husbands intimacy. And I said, listen, it's not just black women, black men talk. There are black women therapists saying the same thing. And so she wanted to go to a black female therapist because they thought what I was saying was wrong and I was being quote unquote misogynistic. But I'm gonna play this clip that you said in the past real quick, guys. This is what Anita has said in the past.
Therapists explain in less than 4 minutes why modern women blacks struggle with taking accountability and more than average lack the emotional intelligence or the maturity to make the proper choices in dating and other relationships. And due to the lack of safeguards in place, many men that are traditional and masculine are exercising their options by being silent and checking out.
I began to really think deeply about this idea, and one of the things that came across my mind is in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming. And
no one can hold Black women accountable. Black women, unfortunately, we have adopted this mentality that I can do whatever I want to do and can't nobody tell me anything. And this is why we are where we're at. We live in a very selfish, egotistical society now that nobody cares. If you're a Black woman and the whole Black woman accountable, you have to be ready to fight, because it's going to come with a lot. I'm always thinking about how young girls are being influenced. So what us grown women are doing is influencing these girls to do these out of control, I don't care attitudes. They have the most disgusting attitudes, and you can't even check them because they have their moms who say I could do whatever I want. So can't no one hold us accountable. Not a Black man. Your white boss probably probably the only one who can tell us what to do because they pay us. A gay man can tell us what to do. There's a Black woman or a Black man, a straight Black man. We don't want to hear it. If you want to piss a Black woman off, just tell her the truth. I promise you she'll get mad. And that might sound crazy. Who would get mad at the truth? How can you argue with the truth? Black women. It is our kryptonite. It is like diarrhea to the mouth. It's like diarrhea to the soul. We have this disdain thing when it comes to the truth.
It's that I can't cover everything at once or we would be here all day, but I also see women as more disordered than men. It's not just what I think, it's not just what I see by using my 2 eyes, my 2 ears, and some common sense, but it's also in the statistics, and we have to talk about that. So when I say that women are more disordered than others, it's not a perception. It's a reality. It's a fact. It shows up in the numbers. Like, it's so bad that we can actually quantify it. It's not a qualitative issue. It's not about your experience or your perception or what's going on in your world or your circle. We're talking about this is so prevalent that it actually shows up in the numbers. We can quantify how big of a problem this is.
They they don't even believe the therapist.
Yep.
They're gonna call me misogynistic, Anita.
Right.
I'm misogynistic.
Clinically trained.
Yeah, I'm misogynistic. Yeah. So like Jesus said, when Lazarus, I believe, not Lazarus, but when the rich man was in hell, he said they wouldn't even believe the prophets. So what makes you think they're gonna believe you? Right. And so they're so delusional. The delusion is crazy, and it's deep, Anita, and I believe it's demonic. I believe it's highly demonic, and I believe it's consistent with what Timothy said. They will not love the truth in the last days. How do you deal with the cognitive dissonance? And a lot of folks don't realize I got the star in the house. My man said, oh my God, I remember this video. I didn't know this was her at the time. I've been highlighting your stuff, and I promise you, we're gonna do some more shows in the future because I like your energy. We'll do it at prime times where we can make it work. It's okay, it's not a lot of folks in the day. Sorry, I ain't worried about that. But I'm gonna cut it up, or you can cut it up if you want to cut it up, and you can make some content from it. Do what you want to do with it.
Watch it later. A lot of people, the numbers go up later. So yep.
Yes, ma'am. But it goes back to, you saw other therapists give their perspective about modern women and dating. I see it all the time. I see the cognitive dissonance. I see them digging their heels in anytime you give any form of constructive criticism. I see the narcissistic traits, but I also see what's called the Medusa complex. I'm going to show a clip of that at some point, where if you show them themselves, they will crack under pressure because they can't see themselves. And so, it's almost like dealing with people that have borderline a little bit, Anita. Borderlines are hard to treat. When you look at the women that you deal with in your practice, what percentage would you think in your mind are borderline? Do you see a lot of borderlines?
So not as many. I would say I recently got a DBT certification in dialectical behavioral therapy because I did start seeing more women that had it, but it's still, the numbers are not like out of this world. But I use it, believe it or not, I use my DBT skills with everyone because I feel like everyone can be more logical and more rational. They can learn how to regulate their nervous system. Right. They need to be able to hold two truths. Right. We really struggle with that in our community. Right. We have that black and white thinking.
Black and white thinking, yes.
And the truth is, two things can be true at the same time.
right.
And we really struggle with that. And that's what I see amongst men and women. Men demonizing women, women demonizing men.
Fair enough.
There's enough blame to go around. I see some jacked up women. I see some jacked up men.
Right.
So I can hold both of those things as a truth.
Right.
That I see it on both sides. I see an arrested development on both sides.
Right.
I see emotional maturity on both sides. I see both sides that come from background, the trauma in their background or generational trauma.
Right.
So I see that on both sides.
Right.
But
right.
I want people to focus on themselves. I want to make sure that they are not the type of person so the two qualities that I personally disdain is being very pessimistic and negative, nihilistic, and then also the victim mindset. I don't have the tolerance for either one of those things because together they just, there's no solution. There's no solving anything. There's no positivity that's just, it doesn't align with who I am.
Right. No, I respect that. I
like people who are optimistic, and I like people who are personal responsibility. What is my part in this? What can I do to make some sort of change here? That's what I think is important. I want everybody to do that. Just do that just for yourself and your small part of the world, and watch how things are going to change.
Yes, ma'am. And listen, I remember, I believe it was in the book of Psalms, it said, how can we sing in a strange land? But then also, Jesus said, you can't take new wine and put it into old wineskins. I believe fundamentally, Anita, that in order for us to get the outcomes or to reduce nihilism, you got to change the system. You're LPC. You know about systems theory. We can talk about good vibes and positivity, which I am for, by the way, but you got to change the system first. Now, first, you got to start with you, like you were saying, regulating your nervous system and centering on the things that's important to you. But that starts at the individualized level, but then they go to the meso level with men coming together, starting to proclaim what they want and demanding what they want, but also the churches amplifying the truth in the gospel, which ain't going to happen in our lifetime. I don't think so, because we're in the last days. And I know that might sound pessimistic, but prophecy sounds pessimistic, but it's for a brighter future. But then it happens at the macro level, which is policy. Yeah. But the policy hasn't changed. So the logical thinking man is saying, why would I be positive? Not because I'm not positive by nature, but my rational brain said, why would I go into a relationship blindly knowing that I can lose half of what I got? The court systems is not fair. They don't care about men. And so because of that, it's not because, I can't get a woman, because many postulate Anita that, he can't get a woman, he's a lame. And that's not true. I know plenty of professional brothers that have had plenty of women, but they just say I'm good. And I saw when I was in Miami at the men's conference, we were on a yacht and the men weren't paying them no attention. They were walking around like peacocks, had on their nice perfume, looking good. Guys were looking right through them.
Yeah, because women, they perform femininity.
Right.
They do. The inside of them is not feminine, but they love to dress up and they love to put on things and they love the performative act of looking feminine. Right. But their attitude, their energy is not feminine.
It's not feminine, right? Shout out to Theo Waff. Theo actually is for being a new member, has been a pioneer. I call him a sojourner. He's been putting black men in positions, Anita, to make six figures in IT and cloud engineering. And so he's been giving black men the blueprint and the conclave to make copious amounts of money. And so shout out to that brother, and also shout out to him for doing the work and also being a supporter of me and pushing the importance of mental wellness and mental health, because I believe, Anita, and you're right about broken men. I don't believe a man can stand in power and stand in his male sovereignty as a man until he do the work and challenge the demons that have more or less confronted him in the past. And because of that, until he do the work, Anita, there can be no black love. But see, once he does the work, once he does the internal healing, once he begins to recalibrate his mind by knowing and normalizing what his values are, then his values become his compass and his values become his anchor. And now he's calibrated and centered, and he can move forward into the next stage of his life. And so when the woman that wants to come into his life, she got to consent to come into his life instead of just thinking you're going to come in and give me some cat that you gave multiple men, and I'm supposed to be happy with that. No, we're going to raise the bar up, because I believe if black men raise the bar and the standards of what they want in a woman going to have no other choice but to step up or be left behind. And sadly, like you were saying, many are choosing to be left behind because they're arrogant, they have arrested development, they're still dealing with trauma. They have deluded themselves, Anita, and say they don't need a man. But watch this. The scriptures say, I will laugh at them in their derision. When Lucifer thought he was better than God, God looked at Lucifer and started laughing. He laughed at him. He said, you fool. Because man created the world. James Brown said this is a man's world. Men created the world, but men created the world to protect women and children. We created the world, we created the ecosystem to protect children. But see, this paranoid persecution, Anita, that's beginning to permeate for so long, has always cast a cloud of suspicion on black male and female dynamics by saying, which is a schema affliction, black men oppress me, black men are bad, black men are going to abuse me, black men are the boogeyman. Now, are there some dusty men that have hurt and used and abused women? Yes. But I don't think, Anita, and I could be wrong, that's consistent with the majority of black men. I think the majority of black men are good men. I think most average black men are hardworking, blue collar and white collar men that just want a decent woman. But see, because the whole inflation, the term I created, you got chicks that think they're better than men. And because they think they're better, average women think they're better than average men. Therefore, they shoot for the top 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
And their guys are saying, you know what? I'm good. Why would I work hard? And she give her cat to all these men that's going to use up and then get rid of it once they finish. And then when you come back to me, your virtue is gone. You know, like that song back in the 80s, that after the love is gone. And then I'm supposed to give you the same virtues that you gave to other men for free.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why men are frustrated. It's not because they don't want men. When men love, Anita, you know, that's why I tell men, you can love within reason. You know, I believe in loving your woman, but I'm not going to love her more than I love God, because see, God will give me the blueprint to continue to love her. So in case she get out of line, I'll go back to the word of God, because the old folks used to say in the South, make me overlord, and the word of God I got to hide in place. So when you put God first, but your purpose second, because if she decides to leave you, and sadly with 97% of relationships being ended by women, you know, I'm hurt, but guess what? My purpose is still intact. And then she comes after my purpose, because see, I didn't say it. Woman was made for man according to the scripture. It doesn't mean that she should be subjugated. It doesn't mean that she's less than. A woman's greatest asset is her being a feminine woman. That's what makes her superior to man. Her femininity, when it's raw, is superior. It can make men's knees crumble, Anita, when it's genuine, when it's honest, when it's nuanced. Femininity is like a perfume. It ain't that Estee Toilette, Anita. It's that bougie perfume like you be wearing. It's a perfume. It's a perfume, Anita. It's intoxicating when a man sniff a true, genuine feminine woman, the softness of her hair, the intonation of her voice, the softness of her hands. You know, her walking around with your t-shirt on and some biker shorts, you know, in the kitchen cooking you in the hot meal, and you outside, you know, just finished cutting the grass and washing her car. That's what we experienced, Anita, back in the 90s.
That's right.
That's what black love used to look like, Anita. It wasn't nothing wrong for Anita when she was dating a man to cook him a meal, because that's going to be my husband. Yep. But now these helpers say, I ain't cooking you no meal. They say, I don't cook, I don't clean.
Yeah, a lot of them can't cook.
They can't cook.
Home. They can't do the things. I mean, I said in my latest video, women today don't even want to do the thing that men can't do, and that's have a baby.
Right.
Like, one of the greatest gifts that God gave us is our ability to bring forth life. And there are women who don't even want to do that.
They don't want to do that.
It's insane.
It's insane. Right.
You act out of your nature when you want something totally different than what God naturally put in you. It ain't going to go well.
It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. You're 100%. And when my mom passed away, Anita, guess what? My daddy was there. The children came later. My mom had a family. Now, my mom had 4 kids. My older sister preceded my mother in death. My older sister was around your age.
Okay.
She came out class of 87. Mm-hmm. And she was around your age. And but my mom had me that was advocating for years, had my sister, and my other two sisters, and we would all take turns making sure we took care of our mom. Because my mom was spicy, my mom, was sassy, she would talk trash. And my mom would tell me that, I said, Mom, let me tell you something. Now, I love you, Mama, but I don't live by no zodiac, but I'm a Leo. And so you can't just talk to a king that way.
Right, kind of way.
you got to be real careful how you talk to Leos, because you won't get this work. Right. And I told my mom, and my mom was a sag, and I said, listen, man, I love you, but you ain't gonna talk to me in kind of way. Right. Because she used to get mad at me. She said, that's how you talking about, in her southern accent. You a thug, it's not therapist. You a thug, it's thug, you just a thug. That's how she's always talking about me. And so I just want men to win. And I commend you, Anita, for having the courage and the conviction to speak truth to power, because I know they attack you. I know they probably call you all kinds of names, male identified, male worshiper, pygmy, and all this goofy stuff. When did you have your evolution? And then let's talk about the Better Love movement. When did you have your evolution? Because I think I more or less have given you a breakdown of what Black Love Without Consent.
Fire. Clinician. Aside to become the kosher clinician, the story and the war cry behind the kosher clinician was similar to some of the struggles and the pains I have been through as a man. And some of you men are still going through that right now. There's a philosophical term called an existentialist crisis. Basically what that means is that you begin to ask yourself the question, why am I existing? What is the purpose of my existence? And I think that's the story of a lot of men that have not been more or less raised or under the tutelage of masculine men. One of the greatest indictments, guys, about the manosphere is that people assert and assume that the manosphere pushes misogyny and hate. But the manosphere is not responsible and was created a silo as the front to women or black women. But the manosphere was a response to the pain and suffering that many black men were going through and continue to go through as we speak now. Once again, Jericho, we are going through an existential crisis. Our country is in trouble. Some of you are in trouble, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And you're not ready to move to higher ground until you get the requisite help that's going to help you become the better version of yourself.
Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician.
All right. There it is. All right. Now hit it for me.
But it ain't culture. 7 in hell is what they taught you. We'll put them, and you can back up in young Dawson. Kosher. Clinician.
All right, stop that. All I want you to say is, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. Say that first, okay?
All right.
All right, you ready?
Start over?
Yeah, start it.
No. Okay, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher, and...
If it ain't 7, it ain't culture.
Okay.
Heaven and hell is what they taught you.
Okay, perfect. Do that again, but give me a little attitude. If it ain't 7, it ain't culture.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And action.
Young heads picking back up in young Dolphin. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician. That was cool.
If it ain't 7, it ain't culture. Heaven and hell, that's what they taught you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up in young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Absent fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women, clipping babies pretend to. Damn. Lovers, haters, acting like vultures. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.